What if a poor boy from a tiny village grew up to change an entire country? This is how his journey began. Hello, dear learners. Welcome back to our channel, where learning English is easy, emotional, and inspiring. Today, we start a powerful life story. Not just a story, but a journey of courage, hope, and strength. This story will help you improve your English listening, pronunciation, and vocabulary. But more importantly, it will touch your heart. Get ready. This is the story of Daniel MAKOA, a boy who changed the world. A simple birth, a big destiny. Daniel MAKOA was born on August 2, 1920, in a small quiet village called Lunaro, in the southern land of Azania. It was a place of green hills, dusty roads, and open skies. His birth name was Cabello, which in his native language meant, the one who questions. Some elders smiled and said, "This child will never be silent." They were right. Daniel was born into a respected tribal family, known not for money, but for wisdom and honor. His father, Samuel Koa, was a local leader and advisor to the tribal council. He was calm, strong, and deeply respected. His mother, Miriam Koa, was kind and religious. She taught Daniel to be humble, patient, and brave. But a peaceful childhood does not always mean an easy future, a childhood without comfort, but full of freedom. Daniel's childhood was simple. He lived in a small clay house with a grass roof. There was no electricity, no running water, no television. But Daniel was happy. He ran barefoot across the fields. He watched animals. He swam in cold rivers with his friends. At night, he listened to elders tell stories by the fire. Stories about heroes, justice, and freedom. One evening, his father said something that Daniel never forgot. A true leader does not serve himself. A true leader serves his people. Those words went deep into the boy's heart, but life was about to test him very early. Loss that changed everything. When Daniel was only 9 years old, his world broke apart. His father became very sick. Soon after, he passed away. Daniel felt fear, sadness, and confusion. He was just a child, and suddenly, life felt heavy. After his father's death, his mother made a difficult decision. She took Daniel to live with Chief Barani, a powerful and wise leader of the tribe. This moment changed Daniel's life forever. A new home, a new vision. Chief Barani welcomed Daniel like a son. For the first time, Daniel lived in a large house. He saw leaders talk, argue, and make important decisions. He watched quietly. He listened carefully. He learned what responsibility really meant. Daniel understood something important. Leadership was not about power, it was about service. And then, school opened his mind even more. The day he got a new name. At the age of 7, Daniel started school at a small mission school. On his first day, the teacher looked at him and said, "From today, your name is Daniel." He did not understand why his name changed, but he accepted it. Daniel loved learning. He enjoyed reading, history, and stories about brave people who fought for freedom. He often thought, education can change a life. Education can change a nation. But outside the classroom, the world was unfair. The first feeling of injustice. As Daniel grew older, he began to notice something painful. In Azania, people were separated by skin color. Some people had rights. Others had nothing. People like Daniel could not vote, could not choose where to live, could not speak freely. At 16, during a traditional ceremony, elders spoke with sadness. Our people are not free. Daniel felt fire in his chest. He knew his life would not be normal, and soon a decision made by others would force Daniel to choose his own path. Imagine leaving your village alone, to chase a dream in a city that seems impossible. This is exactly what Daniel did. Daniel MAKOA had a dream. He wanted to study, learn, and choose his own path. He wanted more than the small life of his village. One night, he made a bold choice. He left Lunaro and ran to the big city of Karima, the bright lights, the dark struggles. Karima was alive with energy. Tall buildings, busy streets, cars honking everywhere. Daniel had never seen anything like it. But the city was not fair. Black people worked very hard for almost no pay. They lived in small, poor neighborhoods. Meanwhile, white people had wealth, big houses, and freedom. Daniel rented a tiny, crowded room in Zama Township, one of the poorest areas. He worked as a clerk in a law office during the day. At night, he studied by candlelight, often hungry but never giving up. Even in darkness, he found a light. The power of education. Learning and fighting for justice. Daniel enrolled at the University of Karima, studying law. He was one of the few black students. Many people treated him unfairly because of his skin color. But instead of breaking him, this made him stronger and more determined. During this time, Daniel joined the Karima Freedom League, a group fighting for equal rights. He attended secret meetings. He listened. He spoke. He shared his ideas about a country where everyone, black or white, could live together in peace. A dream that kept him moving forward. Daniel dreamed of a fair South Africa, children playing together without fear, families building happy lives, justice and equality for all. This dream became the fire in his heart, but the path was full of pain, danger, and sacrifice. He would soon learn that fighting for freedom is never easy. Love, family, and sacrifice. During his work with the Freedom League, Daniel met Lena Nthoko, a kind and smart nurse. Lena shared his dream of a better country. They married in 1945 and started a family. Daniel loved his family deeply, but his commitment to justice often kept him away from home. He believed there is no passion in settling for a life smaller than what you are capable of. The hard reality of apartheid. In 1948, the government introduced new laws, making life even harder for black people. These laws controlled where people could live, where people could work, whom people could marry. Daniel and his friends knew they had to take action. Standing up. Despite danger. Daniel helped organize peaceful protests, strikes, marches. He believed in nonviolent resistance inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. Thousands joined the fight, risking their homes, jobs, and even their lives. But the government responded with violence. People were beaten, arrested, and some were killed. Daniel himself was arrested many times, yet he never gave up. He often said, "Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is inspiring others to move forward despite it." The beginning of a legend. Through hard work, study, and activism, Daniel achieved one of his first big dreams. He became a leader people could trust and follow. But his journey had only just begun. Many more challenges, sacrifices, and victories were ahead. Next, we will see how Daniel faced his greatest test yet, a fight that could cost him everything he loved. Imagine working your whole life for justice and then being locked away for decades. This is what Daniel faced. Daniel MAKOA became a lawyer. In 1953, he and his friend, Tayo Nkomo, opened the first black law office in Karima, MAKOA and Nkomo attorneys. Their goal was simple: help black people who were treated unfairly. Many could not afford lawyers, so Daniel offered free or cheap help. During the day, he defended people in court. At night, he planned with the Freedom League, preparing the next steps in their fight for justice. The tragedy that changed everything. In 1961, A peaceful protest in the town of Riverton ended in tragedy. Police opened fire on the crowd. 69 people died. Hundreds were injured. Daniel realized that peaceful protests might not be enough. The government banned the Freedom League. Daniel and his friends went underground. They formed a secret group called the Spear to sabotage government structures, not to harm people. Daniel became a wanted man. He moved across South Africa in disguise, organizing protests and recruiting supporters. He even traveled abroad to gain help for the fight. People called him the Black Pimpernel because he was so good at escaping capture. Arrest, trial, and courage. Life was dangerous. Daniel could not see his family. Every day might have been his last as a free man. In 1963, he was arrested and charged with sabotage and treason. At his trial, Daniel spoke bravely. "I have fought against unfairness. I have dreamed of a free country. This is an ideal I hope to live for, but I am ready to die for it." He was sentenced to life in prison and sent to Stone Island, a harsh prison near the coast. Life in prison was cruel. Daniel worked in a quarry, lifting heavy stones every day. He lived in a tiny cell with only a thin mat on the floor. Visitors and letters were allowed once every 6 months. But Daniel refused to give up. He studied, planned, and taught other prisoners about hope and leadership. He even learned the language of the guards to understand them better. Daniel said, "I am an optimist. I keep my head toward the sun and my feet moving forward." A symbol of hope. Daniel's courage became a beacon for millions. People around the world chanted, "Free Daniel MAKOA." Countries stopped trading with South Africa. Artists, musicians, and students all showed support. Inside prison, Daniel kept leading secretly. He started talks with the government. He understood. True freedom needed peace, not revenge. The day of freedom. Finally, on March 10th, 1990, Daniel walked out of prison. He was 71 years old, gray hair, tired body, but his spirit was unbroken. He said, "I stand here not as a hero, but as a servant of the people. The time for healing has come. The time to build is now." People danced, cried, and cheered in the streets. Daniel's release was not only his freedom, it was the first step toward a free country. Building a new nation. After prison, Daniel faced a difficult question. How could the nation heal after so much pain? Many wanted revenge, but Daniel chose forgiveness. He met with former enemies and worked to create a united country. He became the leader of the Freedom League. His dream was simple but powerful. A country where everyone, black, white, Indian, or colored, had equal rights. In 1994, history was made. For the first time, all people voted freely. Daniel MAKOA became the first democratically elected leader of the nation. From a small village boy to a world leader, Daniel's story teaches us that courage, hope, and forgiveness can change the world. Imagine a country where everyone could finally vote after decades of unfair rules. This dream became real for Daniel MAKOA. For the first time, all people in Azania, no matter their color, could vote. People stood in long lines for hours, waiting to make their voices heard. On April 30th, 1994, Daniel MAKOA was elected the first black president of Azania. His inauguration was full of hope. Leaders from all over the world came to witness the moment. In his speech, Daniel said, "Never, never, and never again shall this beautiful land experience the oppression of one person over another." But becoming president was just the start. Real work lay ahead. Uniting a divided nation. As president, Daniel focused on bringing people together. One of his most famous acts was supporting the national rugby team during the 1995 Rugby World Cup. Rugby had always been seen as a sport for white people. But Daniel wore the team jersey and stood with them. This simple act showed that unity was possible. He loved the poem Invictus, which ends, "I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul," stepping down and continuing the fight. After serving one term, Daniel stepped down in 1999. He proved that true leaders know when to let go of power. Even after leaving office, he traveled the world speaking about peace, education, fighting poverty and disease. He inspired young people everywhere and reminded the world of the power of forgiveness and hope. The final goodbye. On December 8, 2013, Daniel MAKOA passed away at the age of 95. Millions mourned him, leaders, celebrities, and ordinary people whose lives he touched. His life was more than a story. It became a lesson for the world. No matter how dark the road or how high the mountain, hope and determination can change the world. Lessons from Daniel's life. Daniel showed that greatness is earned, not given. Through hard work, sacrifice, and belief in his dreams, he changed his country. He taught us, never give up, even when life is hardest. Forgiveness is stronger than hate. One person can make a difference. Even in prison, Daniel chose peace instead of revenge. Even when the world seemed impossible, he kept moving forward. He reminded us, I never lose. I either win or learn. Every failure is a chance to grow stronger. Every mistake is a step toward your dream. Your turn to be inspired. Daniel's story is for everyone. It shows that you can overcome any challenge, no matter how impossible it seems. You don't need to be famous to make a difference. Every act of kindness matters. Every time you stand for what is right, you lead. Daniel MAKOA changed Azania. He changed the world. And his message can live in you too. So remember Daniel when life feels too hard. Keep going, keep dreaming, keep fighting. With hope, love, and courage, you can make the world a better place. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. This is the end of Daniel MAKOA's story, but his legacy lives in all of us. Thank you for joining this journey. Share his story, inspire others, and remember, you have the power to make a difference.